Welcome back to Bruins Game Reactions. Thank you all for coming back and watching. Couple housekeeping notes before we get in. I was unable to make a Florida Panthers video, a game reaction video to the Florida Panthers game due to school and work both getting in the way. I have, however, made a 60-second TikTok video that you can find linked in the description below. And I'm going to start doing one of those after every game. They're obviously not going to be as in-depth, but they will still give you a breakdown of the game as best I can. These videos will continue. And yeah, that's about it. Just trying to grow social media, see how it goes. That's it for housekeeping notes. Let's get into the video. Max Jones and Riley Tufte both drawn tonight for Morgan Geekie and Justin Brazeau. Brazeau, I'm going to assume it's due to poor performance. That's what I saw in a couple places on Instagram and Twitter. As for Morgan Geekie, people said the same thing. I'm under the impression it might just be load management. I know it's early in the season. Can't really be too early with that. I could also see poor performance being an issue as they are both off to slow starts. Max Jones played a very good game, though, for coming back into the lineup. He was a 0 across the board, had a couple hits, a shot on goal, much better than the previous games he's been in. And Riley Tufte, very quiet night, no complaints. No star points in this game. Yeah, now let's get into the actual game. Cole Koepke, gets a goal deflected off, Andrew Peeke gets a shot deflected off of Cole Koepke, and ends up beating Alexander Georgiev. This shot was always going to be a deflection. It was shot directly at Cole Koepke, and that was the whole point. This was just a very good shot to be deflected in, and definitely a sign of hopeful things to come. The fourth line gets another goal with that, and they actually had a very good night as well. Second goal of the game comes from the Colorado Avalanche and Ross Colton, with just what is a beautiful give and go from Mikko Rantanen. Mikko came down the wing, dropped off from a car, gave it to Ross Colton, back to Mikko, who had gotten down into the corner. Colton goes to the net, Mikko passes it off, gets past the Bruin defender, and just beats Korpisalo clean. And it's at this point where you start growing a bit of concern for Korpisalo, and where you hopefully want to see a turnaround, but does not come in this game, unfortunately. Third goal of the game on the power play again, this time for Boston. Charlie Coyle gets a pass to a wide open cage. Georgiev almost gets over to make the stop. Coyle just beats him low. And then David Pastrnak gets the fourth goal of the game. Third goal for the Bruins. Gets a very Bobby Orr-esque goal. Takes a shot, gets it in, takes a leap up over the goalie. Shots were just so close for Pastrnak. It's a miracle he only got one. Still on pace for 82 goals, though, so not going to complain there. Hampus Lindholm gets a shot deflected by Beecher. This was just a beautiful goal for everything to go right on. I thought initially this goal went right off the crossbar and in. It was deflected, unfortunately, but still a beautiful tip, great deflection. Definitely something that was needed to beat Georgiev tonight, who arguably had one of his better games of the season. I mean, 4 goals on 25 shots still isn't great, but for how low his bar has been, he got very lucky to be let out with 4 goals allowed. And then we had Zadorov and Steinberg have a fight. This was Steinberg's first NHL game, and his dad was in attendance. Oh boy, bad fight to film for your son's first game. Steinberg just got the break speed off him there. Zadorov also got an additional 2 for slack, and that led to another Avalanche goal. Next goal of the game comes from Cale Makar on the power play that was caused by the 2-minute slash for Nikita Zadorov. Just great shot, great blast from the point from a great player. Would love to see Korpisalo have it, but it's hard to block a shot when you have 4 guys standing in front of you screening, and especially when 2 of them are your own players. The broadcast said that he had time to get over and get set up. I don't think he did, with how quickly Makar got the shot off. And it's at this point where you start well and truly questioning, is this guy going to be a tandem goalie for the season? I say tandem. He's going to be a backup goalie for the season. But you now need to start deciding which opponents you play him against, because this can get out of hand quite quickly. Couple notes to end off the second period here. Hampus Lindholm caught Kelly up high on the follow-through for a shot. The broadcast wanted a penalty. It's not. Obviously, you don't want to see someone get caught up high like he did. Unfortunately, it happens, though. That's hockey. Gotta move on with it. And then Charlie Coyle and Brandon Carlo, actually both, were supreme. Not just throughout the second period, throughout the entire game. Shutting down Makar and McKinnon. Shutting down Makar and McKinnon. This was just a great performance by the both of them. Obviously, they got nothing going 5-on-5 offensively, really. Had a couple chances, nothing too big, but Carlo and Coyle weren't on the ice for that. Obviously, power plays that's where Colorado's going to do their damage, especially early on. Going to try and use the power play to fire up the rest of the team. That's what you do when you're now 0-4-0. Goal 7 of the game comes from Mikko Rantanen on Korpisalo. He took him coast to coast. I think Swayman has a stop on this one. It's just it's a great angle shot. Bad attempt. Not even a bad attempt to try and stop it. He got him 5-hole. He beat him clean. That's about all there is to it. And that is the third goal of the game to make it 4-3. I'm going to be honest, patience is running thin already. I know Korpisalo has had 2 games as the starter. I don't see how this player is on the roster with the aspirations this team has come the trade deadline. Where you're going to trade him to, I'm going to do a trade preview video, we'll call it, later on, maybe in the new year. As for right now, you can't do anything about it, really. Another note at this point in the game, Charlie Coyle gets away with a very cheap shot on Andrei Kovalenko. Andrei Kovalenko. Definitely one that needs to be called. I'm not going to complain because of how deadly the Avalanche were on the power play, but that's a shot that can't go unnoticed by the refs, and it seems to have. Kovalenko went down the tunnel for about 3 minutes after that, and then came back later on in the game. Glad to see he was at least okay enough to come back in and play. And the last goal of the game, empty net goal from John Beecher. Gets his second of the season already on what has been a very young season. And again, the fourth line. Jim Montgomery has shown the very large amount of trust that they've built up with this with the coaching staff and the roster, only 5 games into the season. And this is something that you love to see out of your fourth line. Being able to put them out there and knowing that they're going to produce offense and not get stuck on defense like most fourth lines would. Definitely a watch point for any opposing teams coming up, at least in the next couple games. Boston Bruins' next game is going to be against the Utah Hockey Club on Saturday, October 19th at 9 p.m. Utah is coming off a loss to Anaheim, which that game just ended as I was filming. They got walked off in overtime, which is unfortunate. They get their first pity point of the season. That's about it for this one. I think you give Korpisalo that game. You give him the chance to redeem himself. Utah's been a very good team to kick off this season. I don't know how they're going to fare throughout the rest of it, but they're definitely a team to watch. If Swayman gets the start, I wouldn't be shocked, but I want to see Korpisalo at least have a run here. You give them Florida, the defending Stanley Cup champions. There's not much you can really ask of him in that game, especially game 1 of the season. Nerves are high, and you just want to get a win. You don't. Actually, they're 0-2 against the Panthers this season. You give him this game, see how he goes, and then you go from there. Another couple notes on the Panthers game. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. Click like if you like, click subscribe if you really like, and yeah, hockey season is well underway. Let's have a good one.